Dodgers win Game 4 and force a deciding Game 5 Friday night at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers handle business tonight and crush the San Diego Padres 8-0. What a game and what a win. Just right off the top, this team showed some guts and they showed some balls tonight. For them to go into that hostile territory, a bullpen game, Freddie Freeman out, Miguel Rojas out, all signs were pointing to the season ending tonight. But that didn't happen. The Dodgers did what they were supposed to do. They got on Dylan Cease early, and he was out of the game in the second inning. That's insane. That's now 3 times that the Dodgers have got to Dylan Cease within the last 2 weeks. They got to him on the final home game of the regular season to win the National League West. They got on him in Game 1 of this series, and now they get him on 3 days rest, which that has never worked out in the history of baseball. The stats back it up. Pitchers in the postseason who pitch on 3 days usually doesn't work out for them, and Dylan Cease was another case tonight. That's a gutsy win for the Dodgers, man. There's so many flowers you can give out. Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani getting a couple knocks. Will Smith, welcome to the postseason, getting a 2-run home run. Max Muncy had a big double, good for him. But I think my players of the game goes to this Dodger bullpen. They have been nails this series, and they had to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers to complete the shutout. Shout out to Ryan Brazier, Anthony Banda, Michael Kopech, Alex Vesia, Evan Phillips, Daniel Hudson, Blake Trinan, and Landon Knack. Shout out to all those guys for giving this team a chance. And they win the ball game, and they deserve all the flowers tonight. Good win. Man, even at 5-0, it was still... Everybody was still kind of nervous. Like, hang on, like this game is not over yet. And San Diego had their chances in the 5th inning and in the 6th inning to chip into that and maybe try and get back in the game. But the Dodger pitching held it down. You know, it just seemed like the odds were not in the Dodgers' favor. They had lost the game last night. Maybe they shouldn't have lost had their offense not disappeared after the 3rd inning. Had they had a game like today, had they scored a couple more runs yesterday, this series is over. But again, that's not how it works. They forced the Game 5. Just a big, big, gutsy win. Happy for everybody. Now, of course, the series is not over yet. There is a deciding Game 5, and it just feels right. It feels right that these two teams are playing a win-or-go-home situation. Is it going to be fun for me and for every Dodger fan and every Padre fan at 5:08? No. You know, we both wish these series were over, or we wish we didn't have to play each other until the next round. But again, that's not how baseball works. This is what baseball wanted. You know, you might not get any Game 4s, get any Game 5s tomorrow in the American League side. So if you had to pick one, I think everybody would have chose this. Shout out to everybody. Kike Hernandez was 2 for 4 today. He got a couple big hits. Gavin Lux feeling sexy, my friend. He had a home run, and he had a couple hits. Pretty much everybody contributed tonight. And again, the Dodgers got to Dylan Cease early, and they scored first in this game. So far, in the 4 games of this series, no one has been able to keep the other team scoreless. The Padres scored first in Game 1 and Game 2, and the Dodgers scored first in Game 3 and Game 4. One of my main keys for Game 5 for Yamamoto or Jack Flaherty or whoever the hell's pitching on Friday, you have to keep them scoreless after 1 inning. I know it's only 1 inning and it's the first, but that, as you've seen in the first 4 games of the series, that sets the tone. Now, I know the Dodgers didn't win Game 3, but still, they set the tone these last 2 nights, and tonight they were able to carry it and win. So, you know, the first thing, whoever gets that damn ball Friday night at Dodger Stadium, you have to put up a 0 in the 1st inning. You have to give this Dodger offense a chance to not trail at home. But we still got some time before we can start thinking about that. I'm going to continue on this game. Um, Pitching a shutout in the postseason is hard with a bullpen. But to do it against the San Diego team that has been feeling pretty damn good about themselves, they have been putting up runs this postseason like no tomorrow. They scored 6 in game 3. They scored 10 in game 2. And even though they lost in game 1, they scored 5. And then in their 2 wild card wins, they put up 4. And they put up, what was the second game? They put up 5. So it's not like, this team, they're putting up runs and they're scoring a lot. And for that Dodger bullpen to shut it down and hold them to a shutout, there was many questions of in the 8th inning or in the 7th inning when it was 8-0, there was people saying, well, okay, this is perfect. Landon Knack, just pitch out the rest of these 3 innings. But again, and I haven't done this enough this series, huge shout out to Dave Roberts. He's been managing his ass off this series. He barring anything crazy in game 5, he will not be the reason the Dodgers lose this series. Now, unfortunately, if they do lose game 5, that might be it, and that might be his last managed game as a Dodger. But he is not the reason the Dodgers are in this situation. He's the reason why they're probably still in it, because he's been managing his bullpen correctly. He managed it perfect in game 1. He managed it perfectly in game 3. And he managed it perfect again tonight. The only difference in game 3 is that you didn't get the win. But it doesn't matter. He's been managing his ass off, and he hit all the right buttons tonight. Some of the guys got into a little bit of trouble, but again, they were able to get out of it and trust him. And that's a big-time win, man. It's a big-time win for everything that this franchise has said about Dave Roberts. He has managed his ass off this series, and I'm happy for him to get that win. And let's see how Friday night goes, because obviously we don't know the outcome yet, but I really believe the Dodgers going into Petco Park and getting a win like that gives them a whole bunch of confidence going home for Game 5, because they didn't win 2 years ago. They lost both games in San Diego, and their season was over. And then they lost again yesterday. So there's no doubt in my mind that they were thinking about it a little bit, like, damn, we have to get a win here. Not just to save our season now, but they were able to do it, and not make it interesting either. They kept it 8-0. And again, shout out to Dave Roberts for continuing to use his high leverage relievers. Maybe when they shouldn't have to. Like, I'm sure some people weren't a fan of Blake Treinen in there in the 8th inning, but I like the message that Dave Roberts said. You don't want to give this Padre team any momentum. Yeah, they're not going to win this game because it's so out of reach, but if they put up a couple runs against Landon Knack or anybody else and they lose the game 8-4, that's something that you can carry over into Game 5. But for them to get shut out like that and not score any runs off of 8 pitchers, fantastic. Dodgers were able to find a way to score after the 3rd inning. It looked like it was going to be 5-0, and that was it, because they didn't score after the 3rd inning. They didn't score again until the 7th inning and put the game away. But this is a huge gutsy win, man. I tweeted it out outside of game 1 of this series, because that was a big gutsy win too, because you were trailing twice in the game and you had to come back both times. This is the biggest, gutsiest win in Dodger postseason history since Game 4 of the 2021 National League Division Series against the Giants. Remember, they lost a heartbreaking game 1-0 at Dodger Stadium. The weather was weird. It was windy. All these kind of things. And they lost the game 1-0. And Gavin Lux hit a ball into the left center gap that if it was a normal day, it would have been a home run and it would have been a tie game. But they bounced back, won Game 4, I think 6-2 or something, and then they went to San Francisco and won a big Game 5, 2-1. This is now right up there with it in these last couple seasons. And if this was any other team, and we've seen it, these last two teams, they would have just fell down to die. You know, if this was 2020, because I know because we've seen it. The Dodgers lost game 4 when they had a lead. They got swept last year to Arizona. But this team showed fight and showed resiliency, and they deserve a game 5, and it feels about right. You know, like these teams have been going at it all season long. It started in Seoul, Korea. Um, it feels right that these two teams are going to play a winner take all game 5. It sucks, like I mentioned, it sucks that this is not to go to the World Series. You know, unfortunately, these two teams have had great regular seasons. San Diego really from the second half until now, but it sucks that one of these two teams' seasons are going to end Friday night, and it's going to be hugely disappointing for both sides because of the money and the amount of wins that are involved in this. You know, these two teams are essentially the hottest teams in baseball. And if you look up and down the rosters, these are statistically two, now with the Phillies gone, these are really the two best teams left in the National League. You know, now the Mets might have something to say about it on their little miracle run that they've been having on. But from a roster standpoint, these two teams are the ones that are left, really the best teams that are left in baseball, along with maybe the Yankees. Um, big win. Big win. Game 5 is now Friday night. First pitch is at 5:08. Of course, Yu Darvish gets the ball. And they haven't officially announced a starter yet. Dave Roberts was kind of saying that it could be Yamamoto, it could be Jack Flaherty, or it could be another bullpen game. I can tell you right now, that bullpen game isn't happening. Unless they pitch Yamamoto or Flaherty and they get off to a bad start, you got to yank them right away. That's the game plan. It sucks, but in a game, winner take all game like this, you are literally taking them pitch by pitch, batter by batter, inning by inning. The minute you see them run into some trouble, you got to yank them. And I think that goes for Darvish as well. I don't really know how to feel. You know, for some reason, ever since Darvish has taken off that Dodger uniform, he's had our number in the past. And he pitched very well Sunday night in Game 2 of this series to even the series. So I don't know how Game 5 is really going to go. Obviously, all hands on deck for everybody. You know, the Padres are going to have their best relievers in line ready to go. The Dodgers have their best relievers ready to go. So we'll see. But this should be a very good Game 5. It's supposed to be this way. But again, it sucks that one of these two teams, their season is going to come to a bad ending here, and another team is going to play for the National League pennant. But once again, Dodgers get a huge, gutsy Game 4 win. I can enjoy the rest of my night tonight. I don't have to, I don't have to come on here and get mad about something, that could happen Friday or could happen down the line. But either way, Dodgers get a home game in a winner-take-all. The last time the Dodgers had a winner-take-all home game in the postseason was 2019 against the Nationals. And of course, I don't need to remind you guys how that went. They lost in tragic fashion. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we get another game in front of the best stadium in the world and in front of the best fans in the world. Cannot wait for Friday night. Cannot wait. It's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be all the emotions. It's going to be everything. But listen, the way the game went 24 hours ago, I was just hoping for a Game 5. And after how they lost in Game 2, I was like, man, if you could just get me back here for a Game 5, I'll take my chances. And I'll take my chances again. All right, well, Game 5 on Friday. Dodgers crushed the Padres tonight 8-0. What a win. What a good team win. Dodgers got to feel pretty damn confident about themselves going home to the best fans in the world. I'll see you after Game 5. We'll see how it goes. Adios.